U.S. troops in the Middle East are on high alert after striking nuclear sites in Iran. The move comes as Israel and Iran have been firing at each other for the last week. From our D.C. newsroom, Raquel Martin reports on the latest reaction to President Trump's decision to join Israel's attack.
Today, the vice president denied the U.S. is entering a war with Iran, instead calling it a war on Iran's nuclear program. The historic move is rattling leaders here in Washington and across the globe who now fear a full-blown war in the Middle East could be on the horizon. Brand new video shows the moment B-2 bombers return to U.S. soil after carrying out strikes against 3 Iranian nuclear sites on Saturday.
The strikes were a spectacular military success.
President Donald Trump and most Republicans are rallying behind what they're calling Operation Midnight Hammer. The president approved the strikes Friday night and gave his defense secretary final approval Saturday morning.
President Trump has said from over 20 years, frankly, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Direct military action had to be taken.
President Trump is now pressuring Iranian officials to formally end their nuclear program.
If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
But Democrats say the strike should not have happened without approval from Congress.
Congress should have been a full participant in this decision, and we were not at all.
Senator Jack Reed, the top Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee, says the Trump administration risked a larger war.
We have to be very, very careful that we don't, in fact, start a regional conflict.
Protests around the country are calling for the U.S. to stay out of Iran. Iran insists their nuclear sites are merely damaged and vowed to retaliate.
It will show its dignity, strength, and greatness to the world.
Former Biden Pentagon spokesperson Chris Marr says tens of thousands of U.S. troops in the Middle East are now in danger.
We have a lot of assets. We have a lot of defensive capabilities, and we should fully expect that Iran will attack those assets.
Democrats are now pressuring Republicans to bring a resolution to the floor to restrict the president's war powers by the end of this week. Top Republicans, House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune have confirmed the White House did give them a heads up before strikes on Saturday. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
The Department of Homeland Security is warning of heightened threats in the U.S. after the airstrikes on Iran. The department says low-level cyber attacks against U.S. networks are likely and warns the threat of violence would likely increase if Iranian leaders issue a religious ruling calling for retaliatory attacks against targets in the U.S. A new bulletin also warned of the possibility of more anti-Semitic attacks in this country. Meanwhile, the State Department has issued a travel warning for Americans traveling overseas. They are urging Americans to use worldwide caution for any travel. On their website, travel.state.gov, a statement reads, the conflict between Israel and Iran has resulted in disruptions to travel and periodic closure of airspace across the Middle East. There is the potential for demonstrations against U.S. citizens and interests abroad. The Department of State advises U.S. citizens worldwide to exercise increased caution, end quote. The last worldwide caution was issued in May of 2024.